Hello, everybody. I'm out of town, as you know, this week, and so I wanted to just send you a little notice here that Chapter 18 is what you'll be looking at. Chapter 18 has to do with assisted suicide and euthanasia. So, as you talk about those two terms, assisted suicide and euthanasia, maybe the same thing kind of comes to mind. But actually, assisted suicide has um, more to do with the patient or the person that is dying, assisting in their suicide. So they make the decision, they might ask someone to help, someone to help gives them the means maybe to do it or helps them, but they make the final decision whether they're going to take that tool or whatever it is that they've given them and going to use it or not. Where euthanasia is more where someone other than the patient has decided for reasons, usually because the patient is suffering or maybe there's a quality of life issue. The quality of life is not such that um, a way that the person would want to live, or some other issue, and so they go ahead and make that decision for the patient. So a little bit different, but the same kind of idea that death is being helped along, I guess. So there are different states have different rules about that, and there's a really interesting take on what Oregon's doing, and you might want to read that. It's near the end of the chapter. And as you can imagine, because it's a moral issue, there's a lot of religions that have different ideas about whether or not that is acceptable or not. So the TED Talk that you'll find on week 15 lecture when you go into the this week, you'll find a TED Talk on Let's Talk About Dying, I guess it is, and it's sort of more of a pro euthanasia or assisted suicide ideas. And then there's an article about one of the main criticisms of assisted suicide being that perhaps it creates a slippery slope, meaning once we say that's okay, then are we going to continue to say, okay, maybe it's okay to take a life in this circumstance and then a more broader circumstance, and where will that lead us? So the article is about that slippery slope. So after you've read chapters 18 and listened to the TED Talk and read the article on the slippery slope, also in your, here we go, you'll see besides the lecture, then is the last forum post, and your last forum post says, after reviewing those things, please discuss your opinion about the subject of assisted suicide and euthanasia. Use information from this week's lesson to support your opinion. So I'll be anxious to read that. We only have one more class after this, and during that class we'll discuss the final project. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good day. Bye-bye.